What was the Terra Nova's route? Have you ever wondered about the journey of the Terra Nova, the ship that played a key role in one of the most famous polar expeditions? Let's take a closer look at its route during the British Antarctic Expedition of 1910 to 1913, led by Captain Robert Falcon Scott. The Terra Nova set sail from New Zealand on November 29, 1910. Its destination was the Ross Sea region of Antarctica, where the expedition aimed to reach the geographic South Pole and conduct scientific research. After a long journey, the ship arrived in Antarctica and established its base at Cape Evans on Ross Island. From this base, Scott and his team began their ambitious journey inland toward the South Pole. The first part of their route involved crossing the Ross Ice Shelf, a massive floating ice platform. This ice shelf served as the starting point for their trek to the Antarctic Plateau. Next, they headed to the foot of the Beardmore Glacier, which acted as a natural gateway to the high plateau. Ascending the Beardmore Glacier was a challenging task, but it was essential for reaching the polar plateau. Once they reached the plateau, the team continued their journey southward over the vast icy expanse. On January 17, 1912, they finally reached the South Pole, only to discover that the Norwegian expedition led by Roald Amundsen had arrived about 34 days earlier. This news was a bitter disappointment for Scott and his team. The return journey was fraught with hardships. The team faced extreme weather conditions and exhaustion. Along the way, they relied on supply depots, such as the Upper Glacier Depot and the Lower Glacier Depot, which were set up to support them on their trek. Tragically, many members of the polar party lost their lives during the return trip due to the harsh conditions. In summary, the Terra Nova's route began with its departure from New Zealand to the Ross Sea, where it established a base at Cape Evans. From there, Scott's team traversed the Ross Ice Shelf, ascended the Beardmore Glacier, crossed the polar plateau, and reached the South Pole. The return journey followed the same path but ended in tragedy for many. The Terra Nova's journey is a significant chapter in the history of polar exploration.